Okay. Hey, everybody. This is Sarah. This is our last interview for September. And then we're going to be heading into a very important month, which is Breast Cancer Month. And our first guest tonight is going to touch base on this. But I want to introduce our other people on here with us.
Hey, I'm Tara.
I'm Amy.
And Tara, you can explain before we really dive in to what Cindy is doing for breast cancer about how you can be interactive tonight when we're on live.
Yeah, so we are going live right now to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you have any comments or questions for our guest, please type them on out there, and we'd love to be able to share them with Cindy. This is so much fun to have it be interactive and for you to get out of it what you want.
Okay, so we're going on to the guests, and a lot of viewers. We have viewers from all over the world and different time zones, but we are all local to St. Augustine, Florida, and that's where Cindy lives. And she is going to tell us about her journey with breast cancer and about a very big fundraiser that has become huge in our town locally in St. Augustine. So welcome, Cindy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Happy Wednesday or hump day. I really appreciate you taking the time to look into my story and my organization. It means a lot. Nobody chooses cancer to be part of their life. And, the saying is when you get lemons, make lemonade out of them. And I feel like at the age of 28, I thought I was at the peak of my life. I had just finished physical therapy school a little bit less than a year ago. I was on my second year training for a marathon, and I was in good shape, thought I was healthy. And then one day I'm just laying on the floor, and I put my hand across my chest, and I feel a lump. So when you're, since fifth grade, they teach you about the women parts and self-checks. And I remember that kind of stuck in my back of my head, to do self-checks. But as women being young, we have dense breast tissue. And so our breasts feel lumpy. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, how do I know if it's something good or something bad? And I think that day feeling that lump and then going to the other side and checking, I realized that lump feels different than the other side. And then of course, the next thing to do is just go get it checked. I got an ultrasound. The radiologist said, it looks like a cyst. I'm not really worried. I can get it drained. So that's by putting a needle, taking the fluid out, or your body can remove it but it can come back. And so I said, well, if it's my body can naturally get rid of it, I'll just let nature do its course. But he said, keep an eye on it in 3 months, just kind of see what happens if you have any questions or concerns. So I kept training, I was working, and the lump got bigger. The camera doesn't show much, but I don't have much of breast. But I can just raise my arm and I can see the lump without even feeling it. But it didn't hurt and it didn't bother me, but I still decided I should go get it checked. And then immediately that's where the cascade of events happened. From there, my gynecologist sent me to a breast surgeon. He felt like I should go get a biopsy. The biopsy was inconclusive. And of course, he said it might be cancer, but we won't know until we remove the breast tissue. So of course, I was just in shock. I didn't know what to expect. I'm 28. I'm thinking of traveling the world, paying my loans. So I found this out on Monday, January 7th of 2009. I said, well, when can you do surgery? And he's like, well, I'm going out on a mission trip on Friday. I have an opening on Wednesday. I was like, well, sign me up. So called my mom that Monday night. She was here by Tuesday, had surgery Wednesday, and unfortunately it was breast cancer. I triple negative. So at my age, there is no rhyme and reason why, they don't understand why women get triple negative. They think it's environmental, whether it's, what's in the air, what we eat, processed food. It's hard to know what it is. And then of course the chances of survivorship are lower. And ideally, if you pass the 5-year mark, then your chances are higher of staying in this world. So with that in mind, when my mom was visiting and staying with me during surgery and recovery, she decided that she had a lump too, and she should get checked. And unfortunately, hers was also breast cancer. So we as women are always givers, providers, put ourselves on the back burner. If it isn't hurt, don't fix it type of thing. My mom was raised us by ourselves. She had no insurance. The jobs that she had never offered it. So I decided to do something to help women and men, because men also get breast cancer, find a way to do early detection. With my physical therapy background, I knew our job is to either prolong surgery or delay it or avoid it. And so I figured that if we can help men and women get in, as soon as they feel something, then early detection saves lives. And the only way I can think of doing a fundraiser was with running, because I was an avid runner. I had already ran like half a dozen half marathons, and I was like, I can do this. In the process, I met Amy Kalin. She likes to call herself my backup dancer. I'm going to get teary-eyed talking about her. And so, like, you never know why things happen. And, you know, without her, like, I had been told to go to the breast cancer support group, and I went, but all these women at the time were older, and it was hard for me to relate because I felt like they had already lived their life. But then I met Amy, who was around my age. We were both active. We were both in the healthcare system. And we were both having physical therapy because we couldn't raise our arm from like the lymphedema surgery and things. And so we became buddies, and I threw her this idea at her, and somehow she decided to help me and support me. I think she regrets it now, but we always laugh that as much as this sucks, like, we're blessed that we have each other. Unfortunately, every time I meet someone who is diagnosed with breast cancer, I tell them that I'm really sorry. The initiation sucks, but the sisterhood of women that you meet is just amazing. So long story short, my mom had to do her surgeries in Colombia. She came back to the States and to Miami to get her treatments, and luckily she's doing well and everything's healthy. But that's how Pink Up the Pace created. In the chair of my chemo chair, every time I was getting treatments, I started the planning. So this was January of 2009 when I was diagnosed, and then we had our first race that September of 2009. So it's just crazy to think how quickly everything evolved. And back then we thought that like we'd be happy just getting 300 runners, because that was like kind of the average number of the races that we had in town. The night before the expo, we had 500. And then all of a sudden at the expo, we have like 863, and we're like freaking out because we don't have enough water or bananas, and we're going to have people passing out. And Amy and I are running through Walmart, like chickens without heads, trying to figure out what we need to like get everybody and keep everybody happy. So this thing has just evolved beyond, every year we've like doubled, and now we average about 2,500 race participants. So it's definitely the biggest 5K in St. Augustine. I hate to say that the reason is because the cause affects so many people. Like, it's amazing how many people I worked with and knew with breast cancer that had survived. And it wasn't until I was diagnosed that these people came out of the woodworks and offered support and encouragement and how we can help. And some people are a little bit more reserved, and they just kind of want to put that behind them and just, live their life. I feel like I was given this opportunity to just be able to speak and be an advocate, because so many of us, like I said, especially we as women, when we have children, we worry about them more, and they need shoes for school, or like the AC broke and we have to pay for that. And we always leave ourselves behind. And then we're not here to see them graduate and things like that because we waited too long.
Cindy, can you go back to what a lot of people, I don't know what that means. What does triple negative mean?
So there's definitely, for those who don't know, when you get breast cancer, there's 3 ways that you're diagnosed once you have breast cancer. You're either triple negative, which means like they really don't understand why you have it. It's not hormonal. It's environmental. I have another board member that she's a triple negative, and she thinks, she's older, she thinks that she got it because back then they thought it was fun to run behind the mosquito control spraying people because they thought it was like fog and smoke. And so she jokes around and thinks she thinks that's probably why she got hers. But so there's so they just really just say environmental. Then there's hormonal, which is estrogen or progesterone, and those are hormones that our body creates. Some people it spikes up more, just imbalances. Sometimes when we get pregnant, unfortunately, you're starting to hear more people sometimes finding out that they get diagnosed when they're pregnant, or because when you're going through that, all those hormones are just spiked and elevated. Also through menopause, unfortunately. And then the third kind is HER2, which is like a protein. in our body, that same thing just gets spiked and elevated. So those are the three main types of like how you get categorized once you get diagnosed with cancer. And then there's the staging. So staging depends on the size of the tumor that they found. So stage 1 is good, and then there's A1 and 2, A and B, and then the same thing. Stage 2 is now it's like metastasized to other parts of the body. So depending on how many different spots they find it that it's gone to your body, then that's how they determine if you're a 2, a 3, or a 4. I was a stage 2A, which is on the better side because it only had gone to my lymph nodes. So the lymph nodes are, just think of it as the garbage collectors of the body. They're found right by your pelvis, that crease between your pubic area and your thighs, and then around your neck, and then under your armpits.
Wow. No, I just learned a whole bunch right now. That was really good. No, that was good. I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of other women did not know anything about that.
Right.
That's amazing. And I'm sure over the years, Cindy, you became very in tune to all the different kind of breast cancers with all your time that you're putting in.
Yes. And then, and so that's why I advocate, like, to know your body. Like, nobody understands your body more than you. Like, we go to the doctors and sometimes you only have 5 or 10 minutes, but you really, really have to try to explain and know what feels different and what feels right. And the more you know your body, that one day something doesn't feel right, you know that you should go get it checked.
When you said don't be an advocate, and I know this because I am in healthcare, but I always say to people, be an advocate. Did sometimes you feel like that doctors would say, oh, it's just a cyst, and that you had to push more sometimes?
Well, the first time it was hard to say because I was so young, so I believed in what they said. Mm-hmm. I really think that if it weren't for the lump getting to the point where I could see it without feeling, I probably wouldn't have maybe gotten it checked. So I like to tell people that, like, I'm very blessed that I found my lump within a year of graduating, because same thing, I was raised with no insurance. And so the story at home was we can't get sick. And so I only have catastrophic insurance. So if I felt my lump during PT school, I probably would have waited until, who knows, by now I might not even sitting here talking to you, because by then it might have metastasized. When you say what triple negative is, looking back, I really think that the real cause of mine was stress. Because I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay for PT school, what was going to happen when I graduated, what if I didn't pass the boards. So a lot, I think, is really, looking back, and it's hard to know, and there's no way of finding out, but I think stress. And you've heard that stress. And then Amy is saying that hers was also, she believes hers was stress induced. So it's just
Amy there tonight too?
Amy's in the background.
Is this Amy there?
My backup dancer. That's Amy. So that was our first year. So our hair is really short because it's finally coming back from the chemo. Chemo, of course, makes you bald. So that's our peach fuzz. Okay. And there's Amy.
Amy, hello.
Hi.
You should be recognized too, because you got the ball rolling for her on this too. You helped her get this ball rolling for her.
No, she's the driving force. I am just the sidekick. She does it all. I just do what she asks me to do.
Well, you two are an amazing team, and just to think about the true impact that both of you have made in this community and for cancer is just, literally, I have chills right now as I say that. And Cindy, you raised a really great point that we have to pay attention to our bodies. We have to be in tune with what's going on. Everybody's running so fast in so many different, we've got to be our own advocate to reinforce what's going on with our body. So great call out and great an alert for our viewers. And Pink Up the Pace is just amazing. It is and then on Amy, fire.
Just to follow up, like, we reach out to doctors, and like, if you're not happy and if you don't get the answers, find someone else. You're not dedicated to them. They're there for you. And so if you're not happy, and I always tell people, like, what's one advice you can give me when I get diagnosed? I was like, bring a book, write all your questions in the book, and make sure that those answers those questions get answered, and then cross it off so you know, because it's just annoying and frustrating when, you go in there and you don't know, you feel like you're not being heard.
That's right. You
So-
have to push the envelope with questions and investigate. And when you walk out of that office, you need to know what's going on and what are the next steps. What's the next path and where are we taking things from here? Yeah.
And
Right on.
second opinions, I can't encourage people enough to always get a second opinion about something, because nobody's perfect. Our doctors aren't perfect. Our imaging's not perfect. And it does not hurt to just take, like she said, take your health in your own hands. And if you're not comfortable with what you're hearing, doesn't mean they're wrong, but it just means a second opinion is either going to solidify the information that you have, or it may take you down a different path, and that's okay. I work in imaging. I do breast imaging. I do breast biopsies. I do ultrasound, and I tell all my patients, you do what makes you most comfortable always. And at the end of the day, you're the one who's responsible for yourself. So,
Cindy, do you feel like you still have people, like some young girls, you were 28, some young girls don't think that they're, it's always it's like older women usually get the breast cancer. And do you think now people are starting to understand, as females get young or at a younger age, are realizing that this is just as important to keep track of, how your body feels?
I would hope so. So now I work at the University of St. Augustine, and then being in this platform has allowed me to go now to Pedro Menendez too. And one of the teachers reaches out for me to talk to the students. So I just advocate and tell them. And even in my professionals post-degree at the University of St. Augustine, I tell them, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, I'm pretty sure you can find a guy that'll be willing to help find lumps. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable touching yourself at any age.
So tell us more about Pink Up the Pace itself. Where are you at now? It's coming up soon. It's huge.
So we put on, our main fundraiser is a 5K walk run, and we have with the city a contract. We do it the first Saturday of the month of October to initiate breast cancer awareness. So this year it lands on October 7th because the first is a Sunday, and the whole event is really just to all these ladies you see in this picture are survivors, and that's what the whole event is to recognize them, thank them for what they've gone through, to remember those who fought the battle and can't be with us anymore. And Pink Heals is another nonprofit that provide the fire truck. It's Mike Meacham, and he's amazing. And he goes out, and when someone gets diagnosed, that's Mike. He goes to their house and provides support. And you can ride on the truck and put memories and just put little comments. It's just amazing to see, this sea of pink of people just out there for the cause. And as the race has grown, that's my board members. They're all volunteers. Some are breast cancer survivors. Some work in imaging and health care. Jude, which is the third one from the left, she's always was a volunteer. I met her through the running club. And after maybe 7 years of volunteering, she was Amy's patient, and then she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's just amazing. Just the people you meet, and then we're all volunteers. None of us get a salary. We just dedicate our time all my emails are sent from 10 to 12 at night. Once I put the kids down, I've done my job. So sometimes I have errors or I forget to add the attachment. But the race is just pretty much all stays local in St. Johns County. And as our race has evolved, we've made it more. And I've had kids now. I have a 12-year-old boy and a 11-year-old girl. We now have added a kids fun run, and we have bounce houses. So it becomes a big family event. And then the communities come behind us, where we try to keep people downtown, and Ripley's donates a free admission with your bib, and the Red Train ride for free. Restaurants give % off. Ann O'Malley's has been a huge supporter, and for those 21 and older, they give a free drink after the race with their bib. And then, as I said, as we've grown, other people like what we're doing, and since everything stays local. And then we have Ancient Game Fish Association now does a fishing tournament for us the following weekend. So if you don't like to walk, jog, slog, crawl, and you're more of a merman or mermaid, we have a fishing tournament called Pink Up the Spots, which is redfish. So that's kind of fun. And then next year, we're going to do our first ever golf tournament. So there's no reason why you can't support us. We're trying to cover all our bases.
What's with the bikes? I was going to say there's been some biking.
Well, the bike is just my thing. Since I put on the event and I need to make sure I'm available and can be contacted in case there's an emergency or something catastrophic happens, or I get to start the race on the bike and I lead the fast runners. So I'm off the course or like for 16 to 18 minutes. And I lead all the runners through the course and then come back through and then just do whatever I need to do.
So this picture of you.
That's awesome. So Cindy, what do all the money that you raise, tell us where you help with those funds? Where does it go? How do you help breast cancer?
So we have contracts with Radiology Associates. Now it used to be Flagler Health, now UF Health, and then Precision. We have contracts with all the 3 imaging centers in St. Augustine. So if someone comes in with an order and can't pay for their ultrasound, their screening mammo, diagnostic mammo, or their biopsy, or their MRI of their chest, we help pay for that. So they'll either have to make sure that they meet a certain criteria, low income, uninsured, lives in St. Johns County. And there might be one more issue, but it's all on our website. So our website is www.pinkupthepace@gmail.com, that's my email @.org. And you can find out more information. There's a contact number, email, or you can call us. And then we also have a mammo day that we do with the imaging centers where you come in as long as you have an order. Sometimes you don't, but we prefer you having an order because if by any chance it is not good results, we want to make sure you have someone to follow up and they'll take care of you and guide you the rest of the way.
So Cindy, have you and Amy had other communities or other states reach out to you to better understand kind of the overall best practices, how another city can really assume and absorb kind of what you guys have implemented here in St. Augustine?
No, unfortunately, good and bad at the same time. I mean, this is a lot that we plan all year. And some organizations make this their job and they get a salary from it. I want to just make sure all the money stays. So it's like some people are like, oh, why don't you do this in somewhere else? And I was like, but then I have to learn the logistics of that town and talk to the police and the city commissioners and get approval. And it's just more of a headache in a way. If someone from another town would be interested and say, hey, how do we start this off? Or I do have even local people for other nonprofits here in town that say, hey, I want to do a 5K. What do I need to do? And I guide them and help them.
Yeah. Or to model after what you've done in terms of other cities, because my brain's going right now. So I'll tap you back on what I'm thinking. But wow. Yeah, what you guys have done is unbelievable. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's my baby. It's hard work. Amy always says, how long are we going to do this? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to get rid of something that started and does so much. Now, my new joke though is once my timing guy retires and my shirt guy and graphic designer retires, and I think at that point I have to be done too, because then I don't have my group. I don't have my team, my people.
Now, Cindy, is there ever a time that when you were thinking, oh my gosh, this is year 3, I didn't think it was going to go this long, but then you're like, it's so good. And do you see the benefits? What were you thinking when you're like, people are like, you're doing it next year, right? You're like, okay.
Yeah. So this is year 15. And it's hard to even believe that we're here. Wow. Sometimes it is frustrating because it's like we try to be as transparent. We don't hide anything. We try to be as communicative. We even have we ramped our website. We have an FAQ. We have things on Facebook. And then you have comments like, where do I pick up my packet? Can I still pay can I register the day of the race? I'm like, it's all there. read, people, read. And then it's frustrating. But then the day of the race, it just all comes together. And it's like I have goosebumps just thinking about it because you just see the people with their shirts or their grandparents or you'll see a survivor with her bald head that that she's either still going through treatments or just finished. And it just it becomes overwhelming and you're like, this is why we do it. It's Amy and I look at each other and we're like, seriously, is there ever going to be a day that we just don't cry? Oh, well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate your comment. That's really sweet. So it just means a lot just seeing it, and then just seeing the survivors, because they get so excited, and like they've done other events in other areas, and they're just like, you're the only one that really makes it count and makes it really for us.
You know, Cindy, when I owned a gym for 11 years, and the first time we did your race was 2011. One of our gym members had went in for gallbladder surgery, and when they were in there, they had seen something up here, and they reacted to it, and they ended up having her do, you know, it was breast cancer there, and everything changed that day for her. And she was such a wonderful member. And we just want to be so supportive, because literally she went in for gallbladder surgery and came out with totally, mastectomy, everything. It was just a lot. And we had 40, I think, people that first year. And that was the very first year we did the race. And after that, we did the race all the time. And Tara and I belong to a new gym now, because I sold my gym after 11 years, and we're doing it this year with you guys. We got them to do it the first year, and then this is their third year, and we're getting them to do it again. I think it's just such a good race to show community support, and you just remind yourselves how lucky you are every day too. That's what I always think of too.
That's right.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, because you never know. Like, it just makes you realize that you do everything right. You think you're working out. You think you're eating healthy. You think you're just, following all the steps, and just all of a sudden, just something changes in like a split of a second. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be cancer. It could just be like driving and then just getting in a car accident. It's just little things that you just never know what can happen.
Yeah. Now, if they can't do any of the events that you have coming up, but they're like, we love that you give to people that don't have insurance or help them, is there a place that they can go? They go to the website and they can just do donations?
Yes, exactly.
And so we've added your main website up here for everybody, and then the race registration site for everybody, so that those are quick, easy links.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, it's exciting. It's like I said, I tell everybody it's my first baby. That comes first. I mean, it doesn't come first before my children, but definitely up there. And then we just get excited and just kind of take it day by day, and just go through my checklist and cross things off, and then forget things and add more things. So
at year 15, has everything gotten easier, or is it, that you can do it just like this now?
No, you would think so, but then get a curveball. Like in March, I got a phone call saying, hey, you can't do the race downtown because of construction. You have to redo it somewhere else. And then the year before that, we had the hurricane that we had to postpone the race. And then the year before that, we had to do like a virtual run because of COVID. So it's like, we get little curveballs here and there, but you just kind of roll with the punches. And then you appreciate the things that you've been able to do. And so some years are easier, some years are not, or, different headaches here and there.
So as a reminder for our viewers, it's October 7th, Saturday. What time does the race begin?
At 8 a.m. at St. Augustine Beach Pier. So the start and finish are going to be there. We have an expo the day before on Friday. It's at Mall 2121 off of US 1 before Walmart. And that's the day that if you haven't registered and wait for the last minute, you can register there. You pick up your race packet. You get your T-shirt, your bib. We have like 25 vendors promoting their business, educating you more about breast cancer things, physical therapy clinics, gyms. You get freebies. So it's a fun community event. You can buy merchandise, pink things to kind of look all cute the day of the race.
Energy.
Right. And I was just going to say, your energy and your positivity is just such a ring of hope for somebody who might be going through this right now. So just thank you for sharing with us everything today.
Well, I thank you, ladies, for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, no, I can't say how you're thriving enough in this area, especially for the month of October. Cindy, one more question. If anybody is out there listening here locally or anywhere else, do you guys have like some kind of support system that somebody could maybe they don't have anybody, but they want to talk to somebody that has gone through it? Do you have access to that? If they could pick up the phone, call somebody?
So they can always call me. The number is 904 251-6067. It's on our website. But through the hospital also there's the breast cancer support group. They're an amazing group of women. That's how they're now my sisters. They're my family. They've seen me grow. I mean, they were with me with when I was diagnosed, treatments, marriage, children. So they've seen so it's amazing. The women are just amazing. Like at first I was kind of, when I first went in there, I was like, how are they going to help me? Because I was young. And like I said, they were like already in their 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s. But then I realized like, these are women who are 10 years out, 20 years out, 30 years out. So there is hope out there. Like just because you're given this diagnosis doesn't mean your life is over. I mean, after my first chemo treatment, I was like, forget this. If I'm going to die, I'm just going to die happy and just do what I need to, go bungee jumping or, you name it. But then even at the chemo chair, you have people that are just given 2 months or 3 months and they're doing everything they can to live those extra months. I was like, well, I guess I have to put my big panty girls on and go out there and do what I got to do.
And treatment has come a long ways in the 15 years that you've been diagnosed as well. So that's good as always too.
And then the same thing my sister said back then, because she's a nurse, she's like, if you were going to get a cancer, I mean, you got one of the best ones out there because there's so much research. So many people, unfortunately, get diagnosed every day. So at least it's something that they know how to treat. So don't be scared. If it's that 1% thing that nobody really has ever heard of, that's when you get scared. But breast cancer, there's so much out there and so much help.
That's awesome.
Well, Cindy, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you sharing your story, and it's so exciting. And to know that October is around the corner, and it's not just I look at it as it's not just a cause that people get behind. It truly does affect a lot, whether it's ourselves, whether it's a family member, a friend, a past acquaintance or coworker or something like that. So for you to share your passion is very, very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
Yes, but keep an eye out for what October has in store for thriving females, and we will see you all later.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice night.
Bye.